question?
Sure.
Okay. With TV broadcasting, I remember it being stories about all the Olympians. This time I've noticed that they just focus on one or two. Sometimes generally it's the United States because it's broadcast here. But even in track and field, it's only like they give us the first and second place that they already determined is going to be first and second. What have you seen in the evolution of TV broadcasting of the Olympics?
That's actually a pretty interesting question. I was wondering about this the other day. NBC owns like 5 or 6 networks, and I don't know whether some of you realize this, but over the weekend, the Olympics were going on 5 or 6 different channels continuously, like for 12 or 18 hours a day. And there were a lot of those interviews that you're talking about. And I got to wondering, how do they decide who to interview? Because most of those things were taped well in advance. They're thrown in like before the events where those people are. And it turns out that what NBC did was to have focus groups to decide what kind of programming everybody wanted. Because the last Olympics did not enjoy very good ratings, and so they wanted to try to improve this year's. So they gathered together these focus groups, and what it turned out was that people loved these so-called soft interviews, which is what you're talking about. The problem is, these focus groups consisted of people who identified as having watched the previous Olympics. In other words, they're the ones who liked the previous coverage, and that's why this coverage is pretty much the same. NBC has also had some bad luck. They filmed a lot of these interviews and human interest stories and whatnot. They'll show one of them, and then that gal finished dead last in the race. And there's been quite a bit of that. They ended up showing the same interviews repeatedly, like Simone Biles, that little gymnast, was really good, one of the best ever. Well, her life story has come on 4 or 5, 6 times because they had to can a bunch of these failed interviews. I think if I could have interviewed anybody, it would be the guy who false started in one of the heats of the 100-meter dash last night, because they identified this guy as being from Bahrain, but he was actually a Jamaican citizen that Bahrain hired to be their Olympic runner in the 100-meter dash, because he wasn't fast enough to beat Usain Bolt in Jamaica, so all the Jamaican guys have been hired by other countries. And I thought, that's really kind of cool if you think about it. Fast runner for hire. You can't beat the top guy in my country, so can I run for your country? And Bahrain says, sure, here's some money.
Love it. Thank you.